Hello everyone, greetings from PayTap's technical support team. In this series, you will learn how to integrate with PayTaps through our PT2 API's endpoints. And we will walk you through the first integration type, which is the PayTaps hosted payment page. For the purpose of this series, we have created a very simple Laravel project to walk you through the integration process. But feel free to follow the steps in this series with your own project, whatever the programming language or the frameworks used to integrate with PayTaps. So, let's get started. In this video, we are going to learn more about the optional parameters that you can suit inside your payment request. Now, one of these, or actually two of these optional parameters that is very powerful and very important to use are the customer details and the shipping details, and those are the parameters that we are going to learn more about in this video, so let's get started. The first thing you should know is that you can find the full documentation for this part inside PayTap support portal under the article called the Hosted Payment Page API's Integration Manual. Now, to get navigated to the associated part in the integration manual, navigate to step 3 over here, initiating the payment, and part 2, initiate the payment, and here we will navigate to the available optional parameters, and down here in this table you will find the object that we are going to talk about, which are the customer details and the shipping details. Now, before starting using them and learning what is the importance of them, let's take a look at a recap of what our payment used to look like when we just sent an empty customer details and shipping details. Now, what we did earlier is that we left our customer details empty, the same thing for our shipping details, and once we click on PayTaps and proceed to payment, we can see that the payment is created normally. The payment wasn't refused because these are an optional parameters, not the required ones, but your customer will be required to fill out his name, his customer details, and his shipping details inside the payment. Now, if your customer tried to move to the payment without filling these details, the payment page will not allow them. He will be required to fill his details, both the billing and the shipping. Now, this is how comes the importance of our customer details and shipping details optional parameter. Now, if you send these optional parameter from the beginning inside the payment request, your customer will not need to pass or re-enter his billing nor his shipping details. Now, in order to test this out before we move to our code, you can of course navigate to both of the parameters and learn more about them by clicking over here, customer details, and you will find the article dedicated to customer details. The same thing for shipping details over here, and you of course will find the article dedicated to shipping details. Now, we want to test this out. So inside our sample code over here, you will see that from the request coming from my front end, I have did some generation functions both for the customer details and the shipping details. Down here, simply what I'm doing is I'm taking all the customer details from the request over here and pass it and put it inside the customer detail object. Now, to look at, or to take a look at these customer details and to learn more about them, they are very simple: the name, email, phone, street, city, state, country, zip, and IP, and these are the same detail for the shipping. Now, if you want to learn specifically about its specification, you can get back over here to one of those articles and you will see the specification for each of them, the data type, the min max, and all of these details. Now, what we want to do over here, get back our code, that we will generate both the customer details and the shipping details from the request sent from our front end, and down here inside our hosted payload, we want to add them. So what I'm going to do over here, let's get back to our code, and let's get the object name, which is, first I will start with the customer details. I will leave it down here, and of course I will take this and the customer details object that I generated up that we just saw. Let's get the name to just don't had any typos or any kind of these errors. So I will get this customer details over here. This is what I want to add inside my payload. Let's add it out. And the same for my shipping details. Let's get the correct name. We want to miss any typos or any spelling errors, so just taking it right from the articles, right from the correct place for it. And I will add the same over here, shipping details. And here what I have done, that inside my payload, my final payload, I have generated the customer details and the shipping details, and I have generated them of course from the request sent from my front end that I will just take a look at. Now I want to save this, get back to my payment page over here. I will cancel this payment out. Now I want to get back to home page over here, and let's send another payment, but this time we will fill out both the customer details and we will fill out the shipping details manually. Later we will learn how we can use this button, shipping same as billing, and I'm going to use pay tabs. I'll proceed to payment, and let's see what is going to happen. Now, the first thing you can see in the payment page that the cardholder name has been submitted out, and actually the same for the billing and the same for the shipping. So your customer will not be required to fill these details again. Actually, all what he needs to do now is to just click his card details, and with his test CVV, click on pay, and the payment will be done successfully. Now, this is how useful this optional parameter and how useful you can get to use this optional parameter. Now, you don't need to pass the post. You can either choose to only pass the shipping, only pass the customer, but finally what is happening is what are you passing is what is going to be in the payment page, and what are you not passing is not going to be in the payment page, and your customer will be required to fill them again. Now, let's say I want to use this workflow over here that says that I want my shipping details to be the same as customer details. Actually, this is a simple logic that I have implemented over here inside my shipping details generation. And as you can see, I had made a simple checkbox, and this checkbox contains a value of same or not. Now I take the request before I generate my shipping details. I check if this shipping as billing checkbox equals to same. So what I'm going to do is to say that the shipping details are the same as the customer details, and I'm going to return the shipping details. In case of not, I'm going to fill the shipping details out of the request. So let's get back and try this out. I'm going to fill my customer details over here. I'm going to choose pay tabs, and I will keep shipping same as billing checked. I'll proceed to payment, and the same will happen. You will see over here my customer details is filled, my shipping details is filled, all is looking good. Now, you may know or you may want to use another optional parameter that is related to our customer details and shipping details, which is called the hide shipping parameter. Now, the hide shipping parameter allows you to completely hide the shipping from your payment, so it will not be required inside your checkout page, and it will not be required inside the payment page. It will be totally vanished. Your customer, neither you, will need to fill it out. So let's see how this works. We can take this parameter over here, and of course this is a Boolean parameter. We'll get back to our code. Let's get back to the request payload over here. Now over here I will set out this parameter, and I will give it the value of true. Now let's revise again the reason for this parameter. From its name, its reason is to hide the shipping details, to make it not required neither in the request, the payment request, and neither inside the payment page. So what is happening here is, let's try this out again to see what is happening. And here's my payment. I will cancel this payment out. I will get back to my checkout page over here. And what I want to do this time is I will leave both customer details and shipping details empty and see what's happening. If I click on pay tabs and I proceed to payment, normally what is happening is my customer is required to refill his customer details and his shipping details. But this time when I click on proceed to payment, you will see that he's only required to fill out his billing details, which is his customer details, of course. Now, why this? This is because we provided the high shipping details. Now, a better experience that you can give to your customer if you want to make a seamless payment is by passing out the customer details along with the high shipping parameter to look like this. I will fill out my details. I will leave the shipping details empty. I will click on Pay Tabs. I proceed to payment, and over here you will see your customer is not even required to fill anything rather than his card details only. Now once he finished this out, test card, pay now, all is working successfully. So this is how you can create a seamless payment by providing Pay Tabs with the customer details, the shipping details, customer details only. You can use this according to the suitable business workflow that suits you. And now we can move to the next part.